Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects on this entire earth, and it is 1911 pistols. And I have talked a lot about them, so a lot of people should know I really like them. So before we get started, I'm going to let you know that neither one of these 1911 pistols have anything in them, and we are clear to make this video. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to compare a semi custom, pretty much a mass produced 1911 in this Dan Wesson Valor to a custom built one off just for me Caspian 1911. And we're going to talk about some of the cost differences, some of the advantages and disadvantages, and what some of the features that each one of these are. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the one that everybody knows, and we're going to look at this Dan Wesson. And this is an absolutely fantastic gun. This absolutely impressed me the first time I ever handled one of these things. For the money that you pay for these things and what you get, I don't think you can go wrong anywhere. These guns are put together so well, and the quality is just unmatched with what you pay. If you'll look at this slide to frame fit, it's absolutely unreal. It's pushing oil out of it that it's fit together so tight. There's absolutely no wobble or anything on it. It's got a lowered and flared ejection port on it. It's got a match grade barrel in it. It's just match right here on the side. It's got a very awesome sight, just really tight put together. It's got a memory hump on it, and there's no rattle here. This thing is just very positive the way it works. It's checkered in the front and back. This one happens to be a bobbed off one for like carry purposes, but I want you to look at the way this gun operates. It's just so smooth. It feels like it's on ball bearings when it operates, and the trigger on it is just unbelievable. Just like with every 1911, there's that much take up and it goes off, and the reset on it is just phenomenal. Now, if you'll look, you'll see there's no burring or anything like that. This thing's kind of been deburred everywhere, so there's no sharp edges on them. This is about as close as you're going to ever get to owning a custom 1911 without actually buying a custom 1911. And they're not cheap now. I just want to make that clear. They're not cheap, but when you compare these to the big four, like the Nighthawks, the Wilsons, the Ed Browns, and the Les Bears, they're really cheap when you compare them to those. But if you'll look, this is a regular bushing put together 1911 in the match grade barrel, and everything just fits so tight. It's just a great value. I cannot think of a better value to buy when you're looking for a 1911 and you don't want to take that next step up to the custom folks up there. This is absolutely the best option that you can buy for the money that you spend on one of these. I mean, I cannot say enough good things about this gun. This gun has absolutely impressed me. The way it shoots, the way it feels, the way it's put together. I can't say anything bad about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to a gun that I've shown on here a couple times, and this is my stainless. This is a Caspian frame and slide, and this was built by a local gunsmith just for me. So this is the only one of these that exists, folks. You can't just go to the store and buy this. Just so everybody knows, this was built 100% to my specs, and I handpicked out all the parts along with the gunsmith, and we assembled this beautiful thing here. So this is a stainless gun, but it's been mirror polished, as you can see, and that's the way I wanted it. I wanted something that really popped and stuck out, and this thing is unbelievable. So what we did on this is we put an extended magazine release on it that really sticks out, so when you're shooting it, really goes well. It has an Ed Brown beaver tail on it. As you can see, there's actually no rattle or anything like that on it. It's checkered on the front and the rear, so you really get that grip on it to help tame the recoil on it, to hold on to the gun. It also is lowered and flared the ejection port. This thing has an Ed Brown barrel. It's a match grade barrel in it, and it's got a Harrison design trigger and hammer on it. Oh, I'm sorry, the trigger is a Wilson Combat trigger, Harrison design Commander style hammer on it. It's got really high-rise target sights on it that really pick up real well with my eyes, and the front is a red fiber optic. Now, on the front of it, the barrel has been flush cut and reverse crowned in it, so it actually fits flush, as you can see on it. It's got an Nighthawk custom one-piece magwell in it. It's been blended and everything, so you don't feel any kind of bumps or anything. And that's for your speed loads, putting it in. It was important for me to have a magwell on it. I like magwells on my 1911s, but this gun has the best of the best on it, and it operates as smooth as you could ever imagine. It acts like it's on ball bearings also. Now the difference is this thing also has an absolute very tight frame to slide fit on it, and it just it pushes oil out of it. It's fit together so tight. One of the differences is this thing's put together so tight for accuracy. This was a hand-built gun as opposed to a mass-produced gun like this one right here. Is when you go to disassemble this, and once again, we can't disassemble anything on YouTube anymore. They'll have a heart attack. This is also why I also mentioned that these guns are not loaded at the beginning. They make you do stuff like that, folks. I'm sure you know that nobody puts loaded guns on here. But this thing is so tight, it actually requires a bushing tool to actually turn this. This Dan Wesson, you can actually turn it with your hand when you loosen them. This thing, you're not going to. It's just put together so tight. All the slide stop and everything has been flush cut and then recessed down in there, so nothing can snag on it. There's no sharp edges or anything like that. But this was actually done by hand. A guy did all this by hand for me, so it gets kind of expensive when you have something like this done. Just the frame and the slide alone are super expensive, and then when you start piecing this thing together, you're going to have more money in this than you will in this. Now, if you're a brand person and you're like, what brand is it? I mean, it is a Caspian and it is a respected name, but this is the only one that exists. About 90% of the people out on this world aren't going to even know what this is. They're just going to know it's a cool looking gun and they like it. They're going to know the Dan Wesson name. So if you're a brand recognition person, this is probably the way to go. But if you want the experience of putting something together or having something custom built for you where you control every aspect of what's going into it, this is probably the way to go. Now, it's going to cost a little bit more than it will to buy the Dan Wesson, but in the end, I would think it would be worth it because nobody else can say that they own this gun because this one was built just for me. Now, there's going to be similar ones out there. People spec them out and had people put stuff together, but to my knowledge, this is the only one that looks exactly like this, has the exact components on the inside that I wanted, and it's the only one that exists. Now, one thing you always look for in a 1911 is how positive the safety is, and this one is extremely positive. It's very tactile. You can hear it. It just works really well. That's the biggest difference I see in the Dan Wesson and all the high-end ones is this one is pretty tactile, but if you look, it kind of skips first when it goes over, and I don't know if they all do that, but this one does that on me. You can see it does a little click first, and then it's very positive, but it's not really a deal breaker to me. It's just one of those things when you've been around the 1911s as long as I have, you start noticing stuff like that. But the other thing is you push down on the barrel, there's no play in it. Of course, there's going to be none in this one either because this one had so much time and effort put into building it. But I wanted to show you a very high-end, mass-produced 1911 versus a absolute 100% custom made-for-me 1911. Show you side by side. There's not a lot of difference. I cannot say I cannot say enough good things about this Dan Wesson. The value that you get when you buy something like that, it's just unbelievable how they can produce something this nice for the price that they charge for them. A lot of people are going to think that this is an expensive gun, and it is an expensive gun. But when you look at this next to the Kimbers or the Colts or the Springfields and all that, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it isn't even close to the quality when you buy those Springfield Colts and all that you get when you get a Dan Wesson. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about them. This is on another level. This is just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to do it for a very long time. I wanted a full-size, government-size, stainless, custom 1911, and my gunsmith built it for me. And I don't ever plan on getting rid of it, and it's going to be mine forever. But anyway, folks, let me know what you think about comparing this Dan Wesson to this custom Caspian 1911. I've wanted to do this video for a while and show you top-end, mass-produced versus full custom. Let me know what you think, and thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.